Gonna get the chat window up here. Don't think anybody's in yet, but that's fine. Okay, this is an open discussion on the theology that is presented in Doom Eternal. This is not a serious discussion. This is for fun because, you know, the concepts and stuff brought up there are more sci-fi than theological, but it's still fun to go through this stuff. I'm currently no-clipping through the game just so I can have something to look at while I'm talking. So the first part I want to go over is the energies that this universe is talking about, because that seems to be what everything hinges on. You know, the demons want energy, the angels want energy, you know, the people want energy. So it seems like it's a very important topic, and the first one to go over is the hell essence. It's very simple. It's volatile. It's corrupting. It seems to be based off of, you know, suffering souls. So it's just like, okay, well, how does that even work? Well, they go over it in Doom Eternal, where they basically torture everybody until they give up their essence, and, you know, outside of that just being scary and disturbing, it brings in a very confusing point where it's like, okay, the soul is not tangible from everything that I know about souls, and yet it's being turned into an energy. How does that even work? Which also means that the soul would have to be I guess, what's the term for that? Exhaustible. That's the word. It would have to be exhaustible. And I really don't think that a soul would be inexhaustible. That doesn't make sense to me. It's supposed to be, it's an eternal, it's an eternal thing. So it's, I don't know. And then the next point is brought up on sentinel energy. Now this is where things get really interesting. The sentinel energy is, it's depicted as being very light, very bright, very good, and so it's brought up that it comes from the wraiths, and the wraiths are very strange. They don't seem sentient. They seem like they would be, I don't know, kind of ghostly, if that makes any sense. I'm just gonna check and see if the stream is going. I don't know. Yep. Kind of ghostly. Stream is up, if that makes any sense. Okay. So the wraiths, you know, being these kind of ethereal beings, even though they're clearly physical, it's really strange. They're kind of like the Makers, and that brings up a whole bunch of questions. So, if they're like the Makers, and the Makers are extra-dimensional aliens as they're described, then that would make the Wraiths extra-dimensional aliens. But they're just kind of inherently powerful, whereas the Makers gathered their power. Because with what it's described as the AI that they call the Father, you know, that was just information. That wasn't power. You know, so they had to get their power from something. And then it's brought up that that the Makers made a deal with the Dark Ones in whatever the analogy for hell is. So it's just like, okay, hold on. So these angelic beings are corruptible, which is disturbing, and they've been gathering their power through, I don't know, I guess it would be acolytes, you know, people that believe in them. And the idea behind the Wraiths, you know, is very strange, because like they would be, the Sentinels would be getting their power from the Wraiths, and it doesn't seem like that transaction is malevolent or benevolent, either way. So it just seems, I don't know, kind of involuntary, which is weird. Because when we're talking about all this stuff, there's a whole bunch of transactional things going on in the background. And so if there is no transaction, you know, where is it coming from? Where, you know, how does it? Well, we know where it's coming from the Wraiths, but it's just like, okay, how how do they have it? How are they channeling it? And that's when it comes to the thought that I had with the question of where did the father in that story, where did that come from? And it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for it to just be an AI, because it says in the story that it was a supreme intelligence that split itself up amongst all of the makers. So it's like, oh, okay, that doesn't explain where it came from though. And I think it came from the same place that the wraiths get their kind of inherent involuntary power. That just seems like it would be extra dimensional, I guess. Uh-oh, something happened with the stream. What's going on? Oh no. Everything's okay. That worried me for a second. Alright. Please comment if any of this sounds interesting. Okay, so the so it seems like the energy that the wraiths are getting would be extra dimensional, and it would also be this extra dimensional thing that the father would have come from. And so you've got this father character coming from and having a whole bunch of information. You know, that's if you break down energy, it's got a whole bunch of information, like DNA's information, energy, energy's kind of information that hasn't been compiled. Where's the exit to this place? Sorry, I'm just wandering around. And so that's where all that stuff would kind of culminate and begin. And so you work your way down, and you go from energy and information into embodiment. And then it goes from that embodiment to transactions. Whoa. And then from these transactions, these souls are being used. And it's like, hold on. So these souls are being used and consumed and used to power everything, which is disturbing. So it's just like, this is not a, somebody asked me the other day, like, what universe would I want to live in? Would I want to be in the 40K universe or the Doom universe? And I was just like, the Doom universe, because I know that I can fight against demons. the 40K universe is, it's, do you want to go against demons or thought police? And what I said was like, well, I'd rather fight the demons than have to, worry about, what I say every other moment. It says I have two concurrent viewers. Are they you currently viewing? Say something if you're viewing. There's I've got a chat here. So, what was I saying? Okay. So what I want to be in the Doom or the 40K universe, and the more I think about it, the more I'm starting to think 40K, because it seems like regardless of action, like it says in one of the old Doom's games, like you're wondering where bad people will go when they die, because you've pretty much like destroyed hell at that point. But it doesn't seem like action does as much to condemn you or not, because like when hell invades, it's like they take everybody, which is terrifying. Sorry, I'm just wandering around for something to look at. Like these guys. These are just possessed people. That's it. They're just possessed. And it's inferred that whether he was good or bad, it doesn't matter. He's doomed. Hence the name. So, and the 40K universe, it's like there's strange creatures and extra-dimensional beings and stuff like that, but it also seems like there's something good going on there, so I don't know if I kind of don't like the 40K universe, because let's just say it stole a lot of its content. But the thought process behind it, all of these extra-dimensional beings and all of this stuff, it's like, okay, it's intriguing, but where it falls flat for me is that it's absolutely gigantic, and so it feels like, okay, this is just huge for the sake of being huge. And so it's hard for me to get invested in the individual stories, because it's just like, I'm sorry, the scale of this is so large, it almost feels like whatever these individuals do doesn't really matter that much. I gotta find the exit here. losing my mind going in circles. This is the beginning. Okay, where's the exit? How do I get out of here? It's the red one. There we go. Ah. Explosive barrels. Oh, this one. So this is the end of the first Doom game. It's a trap. Naturally. That was what was interesting about the first, well, not the first, but the Doom reboot in 2016, is that you'd think, with all of the stories people have of demons and people dealing with demons and then getting tricked and, you know, that kind of stuff, it's like, you'd think the smartest people, you know, all of these scientists would say, you know, maybe this is a bad idea. Maybe. But, you know, they're not treating it like it's a... Oh, hold on, I gotta turn the no clip off. They're treating it like, you know, these are extra dimensional beings, and yet that's the thing that really confuses me. Oh, hold on. Once you beat the big, you clean out the moon base, and you're supposed to win, aren't you? Aren't you? Where's your fat reward and tickets home? What the heck is this? It's not supposed to end this way. It stinks like rotten meat, but looks like the Los Deimos base. Looks like you're stuck on the shores of hell. The only way is through. To continue the Doom experience, play The Shores of Hell. And its amazing sequel, Inferno. So that's the end of the first one. But, that's what's confusing about all this. These are extra-dimensional aliens, and yet, the soul is a thing. That's what's really confusing me here. Is they make it seem... they make it seem like... you're in a scientific place. But you're not. Because there's spirit energy and stuff. So how does that work? And like the more I think about it, the more I try to rationalize it, the more my head just kind of turns around. Like, I don't know what's going on here. I'm trying to think about all this stuff. Whoa. And so, with the writers writing their way into a scientific universe where the enemies are spiritually based, it gets really confusing. It becomes like what's that called? It becomes like Shadowrun. It's like you've got magic and technology going on at the same time, and this technology that's harnessing spiritual stuff, and so like how does that come together? How does that coalesce? No idea where I'm going. Not used to dealing with this outside of... Oh. Okay. Just gotta go through this wall. Head up. Sorry, I'm looking for the way out. Is this it? There it is.